looking at two
Heyo,
ugly
people!
faces on Twitch.
This
Oh,
is the long-awaited
Shit.
8th episode of this GD podcast that is already off to a brilliant start. As always, I
so
am
sorry.
Brink. To my right is Rhapsody, and below me, making noises in the background, is Orbital Potato, who still dares not show his face.
You know, whatever. You know, fuck you guys. I'm not gonna be peer pressured and showing my
Fuck
face.
you guys.
No, fuck you guys.
Can you
Peer
take
pressure.
his Twitch offline banner and use that as the image that you put over? Because it's actually adorable as fuck.
Oh
I don't
my
know if you've
God.
Seen it?
Yes. Oh
No, I
my God.
haven't.
All right. I'm gonna stick it in. I'm gonna stick it in Discord right now. I'm gonna send it to you. It is baller as shit.
Oh
it's some fan art.
my goodness!
It's fan art.
This
It's
is going on top. I am sorry, Happy Bird.
It's
You're not
so
happy
good.
enough.
It's
This is better.
Oh man.
All right.
It actually makes me rock hard. Like, I'm not even kidding you.
Base Salt is getting fucking jealous. Good lord.
Oh man. I love it so much.
Why is it called Vasilla Potato?
Because that's who drew it. It was a great person called Vasily. Turns up to
Okay.
the Rhaptato streams and took pity on me after Rhapsody had about 30 pieces of fan art drawn for him. I think somebody was like, "Oh, I'll just draw something nice and sweet for Potato over here."
Yeah, toss
Oh,
potato
man.
a bone.
Yeah, toss Potato a bone. That's right. And then, yeah. Oh man, I love it so much.
There's the
love it.
Adorbs potato.
The Adorbs
Potato floating around. The Adorbs potato. So, to kick things off, let's talk about why there hasn't been a podcast in forever. I think that all of us, to some degree, have been experiencing some internet issues. Potato, you want to go first with that one?
I mean, yeah.
Seeing
So
as you're the most
basically,
drastically affected.
you know what happens when like boy bands break up and they like all hate each other and then they come back together because of the the crazy allure of money and ticket sales at concerts? Yeah, we kind of had like one of those like things where we all like hated each other but only like pretend hated each other, and then we all came back and
I was wondering
we're
where this
back.
was going.
We're back on our course to make millions with these podcast streams.
I would start singing Back in Black, but unless Potato is hiding some black behind his lack of a camera, none of us are in black, so I suppose that doesn't fit.
No, I'm afraid not.
Deep Navy for
yeah.
me. Sorry, friend. All right, which of us would be the pretty one? Which of us would be the one that gets a solo career? Which of us is the good dancer?
That's me. Come on. Like,
you're all three.
I'm all three, man. I'm all three. Come on, get with it. I would. You're the singer, right? You've got to be the singer. Like on a purely.
I was gonna say Rhapsody's the pretty one, unless you want to start doing a riff on my red beard here.
Rhapsody's got to be the front man. He's got to be the front man. Like he's got to be the front man. Like you can't put that face to waste, right? You can't do that. Brink, you're like the background dancer. You know the people with the big booties.
Oh,
that
come
just,
on!
Swing all around.
Seriously,
it's like,
seriously, dude.
Man. You know what I'm saying?
Brink's Hufflepuff, Brink's instinct,
crapping all over me.
No, you might have a beard, but behind that beard, there's a real soft personality, and I think that translates fantastically into a background dancer. So there you go.
I think fan favorite, right?
Yeah.
Because like the personality manages to come through, where of all of us, the rest of us have this facade. And it's like, oh, they're a plastic figurine. They don't really exist.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, although I can just, just imagine the groupie. What? I don't want to be the groupie. I want to be like, what?
No, we got to get more specific. You're the groupie that sits in the corner in the back of the room and just mopes about how good the band used to be before it went all mainstream. And you have to complain about every little thing that's happening and how the front man got this new haircut just because it was the cool thing to do. And he used to be such a cooler person, and now it's just all gone to crap. But you're going to come anyway because you support the band.
Okay. So you're asking me to be myself. I can totally do that. Like that's easy. Totally possible. Man. Jeez.
That
fucking haircut.
So So
Rhapsody.
in reality, I think I think the ISP screwed Potato over.
Oh,
Is what I'm
okay,
gathering.
yeah. In actuality, I was waiting 2 weeks for internet, and I got really annoyed. I got pretty upset, to be honest. I was so lost, so lost,
I think
so
we can all
lost.
sympathize. The
This is the
thought of life without the internet is honestly
this is
kind
the
of terrifying.
this is the 21st century, man. You know, like, yeah, it's impossible to contemplate life without the internet. It really is. But hey, it sucked. We're back. We're better than ever, harder than ever, hard as rock. When I look at that
Backstreet's
photo,
back. All right.
yeah, sure, whatever, but just change your haircut before you go back up on stage, man. Come on, get with it.
What? You don't like the longer? Wow.
No, I hate it actually. You know, the band used to be so much better when you had short hair. Come on, man.
You're gonna grow it out like
Selling
the
out to
Thor
all those
guy.
long-haired chumps.
Get those long flowing locks that the ladies love.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
Brink,
why not?
what were your internet issues?
Oh, I was just gone for a while. I was gone for about a week and didn't have access to a computer, so I was living off of my cell phone. And yeah,
Mhm.
it was a nice little vacation. Got a freaking horrific sunburn because I haven't actually been out on a beach in like 2 years. But other than dealing with those issues when I got back, it was a good time. Just, I don't know. It's nice to disconnect for a few days when it's planned. I would hate being in Potato's situation where it's unplanned and you have to disconnect for like 2 weeks. That's
Yeah.
that's a big difference.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us about the lack of internet, Rhapsody, because I know that you deal with that each and every day down under.
I didn't have the internet. Someone else had the internet, and then I had to go visit their house, borrow the internet from them, and now I've got the internet for a moment. I'm not going to have the internet for too long, unfortunately. Someone else is going to need it back so that they can Google search boobs.
What?
7-year-olds,
Yeah.
7-year-olds constantly getting the internet just so that they can make one Google search. I needed to
Wasting the national bandwidth cap, ruining things for everyone else.
It's annoying as hell. It's
Those
even more
kangaroos.
aggravating by the fact that Lolash is now getting NBN. So NBN being National Broadband Network, basically he's going to have a fiber connection. So he's going to be able to stream like at whatever he wants to stream. Like he'll be able to stream at higher resolution than he's playing the fucking game at. And I'm still here at
You need
432p.
You need to go get one of those big, huge rolls of cable and put an Ethernet connector on each end and just roll it to his house. I mean, you might
Just
get a
roll it.
little bit higher ping.
Just roll it straight the way across the country.
Yes, exactly.
Just roll it like across the Pacific Ocean and plug it into San Francisco Google. Yeah. Legit strat.
And as usual, Potato takes it one step too far.
Find the geography for that.
Oh my god, the band was so much better back in the days when you guys, sung from the heart. Jeez. Come on. I pity you, Rhapsody. The kangaroos just can't carry any more bits in their pockets, can they? It's
Moving
crying
to
shame.
some other people who have long flowing locks that the ladies love. Geralt is getting a postage stamp, which I think is a really cool story out of Poland. So at first it struck me as super odd because you don't really think of a video game character getting featured by anything on a national scale. But then I got to thinking about the conversation we actually had a couple of podcasts ago about how there's actually quite a few large developers in Poland and a whole lot of innovation coming out of there. So it's just neat to see it recognized on a national scale that, hey, this is a significant portion of the industry that our nation provides. So
yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong. Pokemon, Sonic, and Mario have all at different points had postage stamps as well. As
really
iconic. I'm pretty damn certain of that.
Let me Google this.
Feel free to. But regardless, I mean, there's also a conversation to be had in that, it's about the Polish national identity being strongly tied at the moment to the games industry and games development. I mean, the PAX that just recently happened had a Polish indie game mega booth of about 200 different games coming out of Poland specifically, right? And that's really exciting to see that there is an incredible wealth of games development happening in the area. So I can understand why it would be such a large industry as to be recognized on a national scale.
I mean,
You are correct. France had a Pac-Man stamp.
It's a source of pride, I imagine, that, you know, probably the best game of 2015 was a homegrown game from Poland, and I imagine that stamp is just a celebration of how proud everyone in Poland actually is over this game being such a darn good game, because apparently it was.
Okay, I take
Fallout 4 was the best game of 2015, actually. So.
Oh yeah, Fallout 4, great game, man.
I take back what I said, because apparently France has a real thing for video game characters on stamps. Because I just pulled it up on Google Images, and there is a Link, a Lara Croft, a Sims stamp, two people fighting over a gem, and quite a few others. Mario. What? Why is this a thing?
Can we just talk about how useless stamps are? Stamps are stupid these days. Like, we should just get rid of stamps. Like, come on,
I think the U.S. Postal Service is eventually going to be just completely and solely focused on Amazon package delivery. Like, Amazon is just going to buy them out straight up, just pay the government for the use of the U.S. Postal Service, and that's just going to be their carrier.
That's
basically what it is now.
That's never going to happen, because the post office has such an important part in the American Constitution. Do you realize that the only way in which the federal government can actually build roads is if they need to construct a postal route? That's the only way. Otherwise, it has to be built by a state. Did you know that, Brink? Did you know that as an American patriot?
I am slightly doubtful of your facts here.
That's a legit fact, man. That's a legit fact. It's legit, man.
I'm not going to take the time to research it right now. We'll figure it out after the fact.
So I guess you'll have to believe me.
He's got you.
Because that's how that works.
I didn't say I was going to believe you. I said I'll check it out later.
Well,
what I was going to say was Amazon packages and junk mail. Because how would the junk mail get distributed if it wasn't for the United States Postal Service?
Yeah.
Good work.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yep. Filling mailboxes up everywhere with paper that we're just going to throw in the trash. Way to be helpful for the environment.
It's necessary. I mean, because no one reads the spam mail. You can spam filter in your inbox, but you can't spam filter in real life.
Yeah,
you can like hire somebody to be your spam filter. You know, you like hire a person.
There's this thing that I've seen happening a ton recently, where you'll just get a plain white envelope that looks like it was bought at Walmart with a printed address on it, and there's no return address, there's no company name, nothing. It looks like a totally innocuous envelope, and it's ads. Because you wonder what's in it, and you open it up, and it's ads.
They've gotten sick of the fact that you can reach into your postbox and feel and go, hang on, this is glossy. That's trash.
Yes. Glossy means it's bad.
Like, glossy is such a weird thing. Like, who even prints on glossy apart from people who are like wanting to make themselves look spammy? Just doesn't make sense. Not at all.
I don't know.
Not at all. Who knows?
Well, some people who won't be getting a notification in the mail are the 100 anonymous forum members. Wait for it. These are 100 anonymous Steam forum members that Digital Homicide is trying to sue. I kid you not on this one. So let me pull up this picture, because this deserves a good showing here. Sorry, getting it over here. All right, so the United States District Court for the District of Arizona, it is Jane or John Doe, aka Steam user Demon Sword, and Jane or John Doe 2, aka Steam user Nathos. And it goes all the way down the list. There's 100 names on this one. These are publicly available documents, by the way. If you can, I should probably put the links in the description. But anyway, so it's unknown versus Romine brothers on every single one of these. They don't even know who to serve the papers to.
Just imagine standing up in court as a respectable lawyer who's passed the bar, who's got a job at a law firm, and say, "Hi, yeah, I'm bringing court proceedings against Demon Sword. Yeah,
would Demon Sword please take the stand?
Demon Sword, please take the stand." Oh, that must be heartbreaking.
So the backstory on this is, if you don't know already, Digital Homicide is the most butthurt developer that has ever existed on the face of planet Earth. And they've already tried to sue Jim Sterling. I think that's still in the court system at the moment. They're trying to sue him for $10 million for being derogatory and calling their games pieces of trash, which they honestly do deserve. And then now they're going after the 100 anonymous forum members that they have called out for, quote, being mean. And they're trying to sue them for a cumulative $18 million. So.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently, if you're an anonymous internet troll, people can try to call you out in court. It's going to be interesting to see how this one goes.
Shit. I need to delete my alt accounts because fucking hell, like 3 or 4 names on that list might be me. Jeez. No.
It's beautiful that set out of a company that reached public infamy based on their inability to take criticism in stride, or just accept the fact that criticism had happened and go, okay, sure, maybe it wasn't the best product of all time. Or even if they still think it was the best product of all time, that it's GOTY 0 until 3000, right? They really could not take the criticism at all. And then they just amp it up consistently, every single different step of the way. Fuck it, I'm suing you for libel. You critiqued my game, get a lawsuit, get served. And then 100 anonymous forum members. This is an Onion article come to fucking life.
Where was I reading? A while back, I was reading an article about how satire is not going to exist very soon, because the actual events that are happening in real life are now stranger than the fiction that people used to write. And this is a perfect example of that. I thought it wouldn't get any more stupid than suing a game critique. Like, that was just mind blowing to me. But yeah, way to take it one step further. Way to up the ante, Digital Homicide.
I'm almost impressed. Almost.
You know what it probably is? They're losing even more money now because Steam actually has a refund system. So now they're after another 18 million just to try to get a little bit of money from somewhere.
Just a casual 18 million. It's a small loan of $1 million all over again, isn't it? Just a casual lawsuit of 18 million.
They're a big time game publisher. They need a lot of money to keep their doors open.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. No. Hey, wait, whoa. In my opinion, they're a game development company that needs a lot of money, right? We can't say statements. We gotta make sure that we work around this, because somebody sends this to them, we're gonna be in the lawsuit as well. So
how about they're allegedly a game developer.
In my opinion, they are allegedly a game developer. Yeah, let's do it. I just want to make clear that if anybody from the legal team acting on Digital Homicide's behalf, all of the opinions within this podcast are my own, and they do not necessarily represent the views of the GD podcast at whole. So,
and we can definitely prove that Potato is this way about everything and everyone. So this is actually not any kind of special treatment.
Yeah, I mean, I hate everyone and everything. So
just life in general.
Pretty much, actually.
Just waiting for it all to end.
Pretty much.
Further down, they have a list of infractions from each and every person.
Yeah.
On February 12th, 2016, Jane John Doe #1, Demon Sword, accused the plaintiff of using sock puppets as a derogatory term.
It's like the tattletale in preschool. Teacher, he was making fun of me with a sock puppet.
No,
Demon Sword is a
allegedly.
known competitor in the Steam marketplace and may also be using other trade names to get products through Greenlight on the storefront.
You know what?
What
You know what
is?
this
That's just
needs?
hearsay. That doesn't even.
You know what this needs? There have been plays made out of court transcripts, dealing with important events and things. Someone needs to just do a comedy play, and it just needs to be this transcript if it ever happens.
Oh yeah, you just read this transcript
someone come
straight.
out.
It's hilarious already.
Yeah, deadpan, just read it on stage. It would be awesome.
Oh,
That's the kind of
you know
performance art I'm into.
You know the Georgia case, the Georgia court case that was animated by Rick and Morty creators? That was hilarious. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Oh my
Wait, which one
God.
about Rick and Morty? Say it one more time.
There was a Georgia court case that was so unbelievable, like literally signifying the end of satire in how absolutely abnormal it was. And it was spoken by Rick and Morty, the guy that does Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland or whatever his name is. And it's the most hilarious thing. You guys honestly have to see it. It's complete derailment, but it's honestly completely worth it. I love it to bits.
Derailment is nothing new to the Derailed podcast, so it's all good. It's all good.
All right.
So that's a case of a small developer acting really crappy. What is apparently newsworthy now is a AAA developer not being crappy. So there have been a couple of announcements made about Resident Evil 7, and one of the most noteworthy is that it has no microtransactions. Since when is this news?
It has what?
Well, I mean, it's worth noting they still have retail pre-order bonuses, so there's a little bit of AAA. Like, okay, yeah, of course, that's going to be there, but no microtransactions. It, to me, makes sense. We're in a sorry state where that needs to be said and lauded.
What are you talking about? I love microtransactions in my game.
I'm just saying, if that's your selling point.
PT like.
Yeah, man. What are you talking about? I love when I'm playing Deus Ex that I can have the option to buy extra awesome guns. Super fun.
I couldn't believe my ears when they were talking about that, saying they're not only is it full of microtransactions, but they're freaking expiring microtransactions that you can only use once. Like, once you associate the purchased item with a save file, you can't ever use it again. It's like a whole new level of despicable.
It's nuts. It's crazy, but that's the world that we live in, you know?
But not Resident Evil 7. You might have a world full of zombies trying to eat your face off, but there will be no microtransactions plaguing you.
You want me to tell you a story about Resident Evil? You want me to tell you a story? Okay,
sure thing.
So, like, Resident Evil, the first ever Resident Evil was a game for PS1, which I happened to own years and years and years ago. Like, what, like 10 something years ago, 10, 11, 12 years ago or something. And I remember just like putting it into the PlayStation and being scared shitless by how accurate all of like the depiction of like the blood was, and there was like blood everywhere. It was just like this apocalypse that I was fucking terrified of. And like, it's crazy thinking back that I thought that was so real, that it was like so accurate, and how things have changed. How things have changed.
Dude,
I remember feeling that exact same way about Rogue Squadron 3 on the GameCube. I went and played the demo at the store of that game, the holiday season that the GameCube came out, and it just blew my mind. Like, I thought at that time it was photorealistic detail. Like, this is like watching the freaking Star Wars movie. I'm playing the movie. And then I actually went back and played it the other day, and it's like, I can't even tell what that is. There's not enough pixels.
Yeah.
I had the exact same thing with Doom 2.
Oh
that
wow.
2.5D aesthetic, and I was like, "Yep, this is as good as games are gonna get." I mean, I'm
That's really
terrified
reaching
of
back.
everything here, and had nightmares currently.
Wow.
I can understand a Doom game giving you nightmares. That they got some freaky crap going on in those.
Yeah, John Romero's head on a spike.
Have you played the new one yet?
I've not, but I really want to because
you need
it's
to.
being lauded.
It's really good, apparently. Yeah.
I'm about maybe halfway through it at this point, playing on one of the easier difficulties because I'm a wimp and I suck at first-person shooters. But yeah, it is the most gleefully fun, gory game that I have ever played. Something about just literally punching a demon's head off is so amazing.
I think games that are self-aware these days are
in photorealistic detail.
It's really weird that you get a game that is like self-aware to the point that it can sort of make fun of itself. Like it doesn't really happen these days anymore. And
but it's not making fun of itself though. It's awesome. Like the whole experience is amazing. There's nothing derogatory about the experience. So it is fully self-aware of what it is.
It knows it's ridiculous, and it knows that it's just like
but it embraces
an alien killing fest. Exactly, it embraces it.
Yes.
And that's the strength that it has.
Okay, there's a spectrum, right? It knows it, like, it's not trying to be too serious about itself, which is what a lot of games that have tried to come out of like antiquity into the modern era and have gone, oh, here's our gritty reboot kind of thing, are trying to do. But also, it's not Bulletstorm. Like, just before the final boss fight, you don't hear, I'm up here violently fiddling my balls, right? That is a line from Bulletstorm, by the way. I love it. It's a good game. It's kind of somewhere in between, right? It knows where it should be, and it hit the mark perfectly, is pretty much what everyone's saying for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what else hit the mark perfectly? The old band, like when you had short hair and when you sung from the soul, man. Jeez, love those days.
I just sing from the wallet.
Love those days. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Oh, so sad. So sad.
That said,
Thing for the money.
Resident 7 without microtransactions. I know one of you just said a world full of zombies. Isn't Resident... I mean, I could be operating under false assumptions here, but I thought it was the smaller scale one. I thought it was the basically PT-like, right?
It depends on which one. Yes.
I'm not touching Resident Evil with a 10-foot fucking barge pole, all right? You know, those early days of Resident Evil 1 were enough to traumatize me for life. I'm never going back. Never, not in a million years. I'm scared shitless, man.
This is actually a super good transfer here because we're talking about the photorealistic details on older consoles and whatnot. Console specs are here for all of the new stuff, whether you wanted it or not. And it's an interesting thing to look at. The biggest thing that I see here is that the new Xbox is coming out, which, what do they call it? The names are getting so ridiculous. Project Scorpio for Xbox. Just looking at the raw performance numbers on it is way stronger than the PlayStation 4 Pro is going to be. This might not be much.
Pro, fucking
yeah,
hell, stupid name. Stupid name.
It's the new Apple. You know, you got the iPad and the iPad Pro. Now you got the PlayStation and the PlayStation Pro.
There's literally the Xbox One S. That is Apple's naming scheme.
Yeah. What does the S even mean? Like suck a dick? Like
they didn't want to call it the Slim because PlayStation was also calling theirs the Slim.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So it's the 1S. Anyway, it's kind of gone back and forth the last few console generations. So everybody who had a PlayStation 4 was ranting and raving about the fact that they had just a few more megahertz of clock, just that slightest little edge in performance over the Xbox One S. Yeah, now it's like a 20% stronger Xbox versus the PlayStation. So I'm going to have fun just watching all of the console fanboys arguing over this whole thing. It's gonna be fun to watch the tables turn and all of the animated cartoons come out and all the new stuff. I'm just gonna sit back with my popcorn and watch it all go.
It's
Or
always
new
good to see the
dank
people that were
memes.
previously talking about, oh, look, our console's more powerful, suddenly swap their argument to, yeah, but we have a better catalog. Like,
Our console is more optimized. So even though we don't have as many pixels on the screen, it's a smoother playing experience.
that said,
I mean-
pixels on the screen, the Xbox, has Project Scorpio announced whether it has 4K upscaling, or is that just the Pro that has that?
I don't know.
Guys,
I
I mean, we all know.
Do not know.
We all know that
but I
the
think
eye,
it's kind of taken for granted.
the eye can't see above 30 frames per second anyway. So I mean, come on. Anything
I can't see
Bullshit.
above 512 by 256 resolution anyway, so
Rhapsody doesn't need any more internet because the
yeah.
the amount of pixels that he is streaming is the most that can be perceived by the human eye. So any more would just be overkill.
it's true.
Yeah.
That said, the eye can only see above, the 30 FPS one that everyone's talking about. I have to stream at 25 FPS, so I want to fix that.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I think it's 24 FPS that the eye, like anything below 24 FPS and the eye interprets it as pictures, like a slideshow.
Still
but
24
24
above, I
frames
think,
per
is
second
video.
with motion blur. The human
Okay.
eye registers as being normal.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
That's why 24 frames per second on TV and 30 frames per second on video games kind of look different, because with video games, unless they have a motion blur option, it's 30 individual frames, whereas on a TV, the 24 frames are kind of blurred together, so you have motion sequencing, and your eye more readily accepts that. So once you get up to like 60 frames per second with the individual clear-cut frames, then they are so close together that even without motion blur, your eye kind of accepts it as being a real thing. So that's why games running at 24 frames are super choppy, but movies run fine. And cinematic experience is a totally bullshit reason to have your game run at 30 frames per second.
Yeah. It's 60 FPS is hard. Just say that. I'll respect you so much more. Just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still won't buy your product. There's nothing I play that runs at 30.
Because
the
dang it,
original
even
idea.
if everyone watching my stream has to watch it at 25 frames per second, I still want it at 60 FPS on my computer.
Oh yeah, no, I play Enter the Gungeon at 120, but it just broadcasts at 25.
And we're all sitting back here with our awesome PCs and laughing at the people arguing about which console's better.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm wondering how much longer the consoles are going to be a thing. Because
Well, Sony said like the Pro was not to compete with the Xbox; it was to compete with the PC. And
which is
that's
a really weird thing.
yeah, you're not gonna do that with performance that can be achieved by a lower mid-tier graphics card. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sony.
Got these ballin' $200 GPUs that have been released now. And you're looking at, what, $400, $500 price tags on the consoles?
Something tangential to this is that Sony also recently confirmed that Fallout 4 will not have mod support on the PS4, and it does have mod support on the Xbox. So you've got this weird dynamic where Sony are saying, I want to compete with PCs with the PlayStation Pro, but they don't even offer mod support, which is just
Well,
garbo.
I think that all boils down to their desired end user experience, because Sony was trying to have more control over the fact that sometimes the mods crash. So they were like, you've either got to give us quality control or you can't have mods. And they wouldn't give them quality control because of course they want people to be able to build the mods they want to make. And so Sony said, nope, no mod support.
Well,
Which was a completely asinine move, in my opinion.
Not gonna compete with a PC with that attitude, though, are you?
The
Not at
specific
all.
thing Sony asked though was for Bethesda to individually check each mod.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. That's
Can
so
you
bad.
imagine checking all the mods?
I can't. I literally cannot though.
I'm sitting here imagining all of the filth that goes through in mod form. Like, not just trashy coding, but then you also got the skin textures and like, yeah, we want to play Fallout with just all naked people. So somebody at Bethesda, as they're screening it, are all of these resolutions up to scratch? Does it crash? Does it crash if the boobs bounce too much? You know, like, what is your determining factor here?
If I zoom in on that bit, is that going to cause a specific interaction with the
Boss walks around the corner. It's a mod. I swear it was a mod.
So yeah, guys, I'm applying for a job with Bethesda Quality Assurance, actually. So,
sorry, Bethesda doesn't have quality assurance, so I don't know where you're going to be working.
That's too true.
It's fantastic.
Touching, actually. Too true.
Absolutely fantastic. So, Potato, what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing a couple of things, actually, and I've been playing some modern games and some older games that we didn't really talk about, which are really interesting, which I kind of do want to talk about. So recently, I've been playing Halcyon, but I say it Halicon because it sounds better. Halicon 6. Fuck you, man. Don't tell me how to fucking say this. I don't give a shit what you say, all right? Fuck off.
I'm just going to stay out of this.
How did I say it first? I can't even remember. Whatever. Halicon. Is that how I'm supposed to say it? How
that sounds like a convention based around the lead singer of Paramore. What is the? It's Halcyon.
Halicon. Okay, Halicon 6.
Did you spell it correctly?
Yeah, I did. Maybe not, actually. I don't know. Either way, it's this game where you're kind of like in control of a starbase and you're kind of building it up. And it was a kickstarted game. But yeah, it's
Rhapsody
pretty cool.
was right. It's Halcyon. You misspelled it.
I am 100% correct.
Fuck you. No, fuck off. No.
You don't get to talk about the game if you don't know how it's spelled.
Nah, fuck you. That's no. The title is up to interpretation. The poetic license, man. Come on. Get with it. You should know. As a singer who used to write good songs and sing from the soul, Jesus Christ, you're really letting the side down here. Anyway, Halicon 6, pretty decent game. Get to play as like the Starbase commander. I've just sort of started it and playing it on the channel right now. Really enjoying it. Really enjoying it, surprisingly. And yeah, I think it's an interesting game with an interesting premise, kind of like FTL, graphics like FTL, environment sort of setting that's kind of like FTL, but plays really nicely, and I'm digging it. Yeah.
Is the soundtrack as good as FTL?
I don't think any soundtrack can really compete with FTL. Like FTL has just got such a damned good, like just such a chilled out vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Witcher 3 soundtrack is really good, but yeah, no, FTL's is amazing.
Oh yeah, how's that dick? That must be a really nice. Just keep on going after sucking off the Witcher, as you say.
No, I mean, the Blood and White expansion had an amazing batch of backing tracks.
I'm not surprised, to be honest.
Like the D&D campaign uses them, streamer, so I've heard them very often.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
It's very nerdy.
It's blowing my mind right
FTL
now.
is actually, the soundtrack for FTL is really good to listen to when you're just studying. Like it's really good in the background. So what kind of gameplay is in Halcyon? What kind of a game is it?
In Halicon, you mean? Oh, in Halicon. It's really interesting because you have these like fight encounters that are kind of like old-timey Pokemon, right? Where you have a bunch of abilities that you can use, and you can use them on your enemies, and the enemies use abilities on you. You can heal your allies, do damage, inflict certain exploits like hull breaches and sensors down. I'm just sort of starting off, so I can't really comment too much about it. But there's also ground-based combat, which kind of works in the same way. But overall, just really interesting, really fresh, really like it. And yeah, man, I just dig it. You know, I dig it. It's a good game. It's just fun. It just, it hit me right in the right spot, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I kind of like it. What about you guys? What have you been playing? Because I don't want to talk all night about what I've been playing.
You mentioned the FTL soundtrack. I've actually been doing a couple more little playthroughs on that. Just kind of getting back in the groove. It's a good time waster. I played it for some 150 odd hours. across a variety of devices way back when, but it's been a long time. And it's nice just to go through it again. Like Rhapsody was saying, the music and the whole atmosphere is just so chill. You can just lay back, relax. It's all good. And I can imagine the soundtrack being good to listen to as background. It's interesting, the sound design on a lot of stuff. I don't think some developers give full credit to the soundtrack, like, or as much attention as it deserves. Because when you have a good one, it just so thoroughly immerses you into the play experience.
Yes.
It's fantastic. And, you know, mediocre music, you probably don't realize that it's bad, but there's definitely an element missing. And it's just rare when you have a game like FTL where everything just comes together so well. It's such a simple game, but it's so good. Just good.
I'd have to agree. Like, it's super strongly tied to the emotions of what the gameplay itself evokes, right?
Yeah.
So if I listen to it outside of playing the game, I already feel like in the mood for like tense, strategic decision making, right? Like for relative calm, but for preparedness to deal with individual threats in certain different formats, to think about things on a deeper strategic level. It does that when I'm not even playing the game, which is just all the more powerful as like a Pavlovian response that's been conditioned through that soundtrack.
Yeah. So I've been doing FTL, and then also on the recommendation of some of the guys that I was requesting game suggestions from, going back and trying Earth 2160, which I had never played before. It's a really cool RTS game. Kind of in the same vein. I'm going to kind of lump it in with the old school Command and Conquer style games. But the gimmick that sets this one apart is that you can build your own units. So like when you unlock tanks on the tech tree, you don't just get tanks. You can outfit your tanks with like energy shielding that can be more resistive to beam weaponry, but it's weaker to artillery, or you can fit it with conventional armor, faster engines, more reliable engines. There's just this huge branch that you can take out onto the tree on that side of the tech tree. And so even though you're using the same unit, you can have it function 3 or 4 different ways. And it's just really cool. You get to name your own units, build up your army exactly how you want it. And it's a neat experience. Horrible UI. One of the worst user interfaces that I have ever seen, with a severe lack of hotkeys and no real functioning tutorial. But once you get past all of the pain, there's a really cool game hiding underneath. So it is an older one.
You mentioned you can customize the units. Is that on the fly, or is that like in an overlay of strategic, and then you go in with the different units that you've decided on?
It's in the game. Like when you you'll have all of the little tabs that pop out to make all of your choices during the game. When you pop out the research tree, it pauses the game, and then you can build the unit in the little unit manager there and save it and name it. And then when you go to the factory, it's available to build. So you can do it on the fly. Like if you run into a problem that you can't solve with the weaponry that you have right now, you can just stop the game right there and design a unit that'll defeat whatever you're up against, and then just build some of it.
I really hate games where you can customize units. Like, it's the bane of my life. I'm not gonna lie. I really, really dislike them. And it sounds kind of annoying, but I don't like having all of the choices that like weapons get you. And it always feels like micromanagement to me. It's like, oh, I need to increase this laser weapon from 0.5 damage inflicted to 0.6, and it's just
not that detailed. It's not like boost this by 10%. It's like choose between a laser cannon and a mortar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, okay, so less.
It's a much broader choice than that. I'm surprised that you say that, since you play like Hearts of Iron 4, games like that have so many absurd levels of detail.
I hate customizing units in Hearts of Iron 4. I don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. I don't pretend to understand it. I hate it. It's same with like Stellaris and like a lot of these like Space 4X games where you can always customize your own ships. It drives me up the wall. I hate doing that. I just want to play the game. I don't want to worry about making my army. Like, come on, just give me some ships that I can pump out. You know, have different ones that counter the bad guys, but don't make me build like an entirely different ship because, oh, it's part of the game experience. No, I really, really dislike that in a game. I really, really don't. I'm very, very, very against it. Hate it with a passion.
But you get to name your units things like the Doom Cycle and then cackle maniacally as it just wrecks the enemy base. What can you not love about that?
The fact that you have to customize it in the first place, like naming it, you know, that's great, but just customize it. Oh my God. Oh, it drives me crazy. Like I cannot be the only one that thinks like this. I can't be the only one. I
You're
can't
not.
be.
You're not.
Okay, yeah, good. I feel like I'm coming from a fairly logical position, you know, but I always feel like I'm coming from a fairly logical position. But
we
hey
know
ho,
that
you
not to
know.
be always true.
What have you been up to, Rhapsody?
I've actually played a lot of games in the meantime. Usually I'm the one that's like, here's a game I played 4 years ago we can talk about, right? But no, I've very, very recently played the Turing test, which is
So did you find out whether or not you're a robot?
No comment. So I mean that is
Oh, wow,
that is one of the core
spoilers.
conceits of the game. To ask that
Brain
question,
just
right?
you
You're
ruined the
accompanied by
game,
an
Brain.
AI who basically has taken you down to the Earth right? The moon surface, Europa, in order to find what had happened to the rest of the crew on that surface.
Mm-hmm.
Without really spoiling it, within about the first 30 minutes, the AI that is accompanying you says, hang on, these rooms are Turing tests. Why? Right? And that's why it's really important that you're there. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to get through and find where they are. It is a really, really, really good first-person puzzle sci-fi game. It
That's
kind
a
of
good premise.
it does have an amazing premise, and it only gets better, is my favorite thing about it. I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna record an episode or two of this, and I ended up playing the entire game over the course of the next 4 hours and then just recording the entirety of it. It's so mind-bogglingly good. It has a lot of like aspects of, oh, here I can see a little bit of Portal influence. Here I can see a lot of Talos Principle. It's Talos Principle. It is Talos Principle. Because Talos Principle did the same thing where it was like, you know, first off, you play, you know, it's got the kind of like robotic as whether or not philosophical determination of what is consciousness and what counts as human. I mean, if you can perfectly emulate it, does that not make it human? In the same way that Turing test kind of approaches philosophical concepts of consciousness in a very similar way and explores it through the way that Ava, the main character, interacts with different elements in the game and the way that Tom interacts with different elements in the game. Tom being the AI that you're currently alongside. It is mind-blowingly good, and I don't want to say any more about it without people going and buying it and playing it themselves. It's got the AAA aesthetic, sure. It was built in Unreal Engine 4. It looks beautiful, but it's $19 on Steam. There is no reason not to just pick it up and play through it in the same way that I would recommend Portal at double its full price originally.
Yeah.
It is so worth the time.
Since it is $19, I have to ask, if you played the entire game in 4 hours, is it worth $20 in light of the fact that it is only 4 hours, and is there replayability?
So there's replayability in that there's certain restricted rooms that are much, much, much more difficult than the rest of the game. So you have to think outside the box, and sometimes you just have to pass them by and go, well, I mean, I just don't know how to solve that. So there's replayability in going back to basically what are amounting to challenge rooms that give you a little bit more story about the individual characters and about the world that you're working in. But moreover than that, it's not 4 hours. It's closer to 6. It's just I said 4 and then I had to go check the exact amount of time that I actually spent in the game.
So to get through the whole thing,
5.9, right?
It's like 10 hours of brain busting, if you like that kind of thing.
10 hours? Probably not. Like I'd say between 5 and 6, right? Depending on skill level and things of the nature. But at the same rate, yes, I would still heartily recommend it. I would heartily recommend it if it was 1 hour long, right? I don't care about the length of the experience as much as I care about the intensity and variety offered within that experience. If you can give a really, really good fulfilling game experience in a single hour, show me that and I will pay you the money for it. Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to pick up a game, right, for $60 and go, I expect 50 hours of gameplay from this. And especially at $20, I don't expect any amount of time. It's just whether or not it's good. The original Portal was like 3.5 hours. If you're not, half brain dead. It's really, really, really short. But
Funny
the
you should
writing in that game
specify.
is
No, I'm just
probably
kidding.
right half of your brain, right? The writing in Portal is possibly some of the strongest writing that Valve has ever produced. It is easily worth the asking price, and this is at the very least double the length of that game. And the writing isn't Portal-esque in like dark humor kind of fashion, but it does make you think, and it is really, really interesting. There are a bunch of different circumstances where, even with like ethical boundaries, not only as philosophical boundaries, where I was sitting for a second and going, "Fuck, what do I believe? Like, what is the core truth of this to me? Because I'm gonna have to act based on that."
That's a rare experience in a game. It really is.
It is really difficult for a game to engage you and immerse you in such a way that you actually look at it and go, "Shit, I actually need to have a serious thought about what this game is proposing to me at the moment," rather than
That's
just
what a lot of
denying
people
the premise.
That's what a lot of people were saying about this War of Mine, where like it just brings it to a very personal level. And a lot of the experience of the game is not necessarily the gameplay, it's the story behind it and what it makes you think about. So good to hear that games like that are still getting made.
I had a similar experience with another game. Jeez, yeah. Fucking shut up. Just give me a chance to fucking speak. Jesus Christ. No. No, I just joke. No, that's actually really interesting. And I had a very similar experience with another game, which was very similar in some of the aspects in terms of philosophical content. Maybe not quite as deep as the Turing test, but it is called Event Zero. You may or may not have heard of it. And it's kind of like this indie game that revolves around your interactions with a computer. And you basically go around in this 3D world, and it's a text adventure, right? It's a 3D text adventure because the only interaction you have is typing into a computer. And it's such an interesting concept because everything you do is 100% reliant on being at a computer terminal. Like, it doesn't matter what you do in the world. You can like look at stuff, you can inspect stuff, but the only thing that changes is what you type into the computer. And it's honestly, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like the whole text-based mechanic was super cool. And I really, really liked it. Event Zero, I would highly recommend it. There's a couple of endings. I've only got one, but I really, really liked it. Another great game. Can completely recommend that.
Solid bonus recommendation there from Orbital.
Yeah.
Coolio. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up the podcast for this week. If you have any questions about life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, definitely leave those in the comments. We are looking for some things to talk about for the next round, and hopefully it will not be another 5 weeks before then. As always, huge thank you to Rhapsody and Orbital Potato for joining me on this one.
Thanks for having us.
No bother. Anytime, man. Anytime.
And we will see you guys in the next one. If you're in the live stream, stick around for just a few more minutes.